Hey, what's happening everybody? This is Royce from Pedal Mountain. Welcome to my channel. Tonight's video is going to be unboxing a new 1/18 scale resin cast GT Spirit 1989 Ferrari Testarossa Cabriolet by Koenig Specials. And we will get started right now. Here's the box. The number on this particular one, I believe, is, let me see it. The reference number is GT329, if you're curious about that. They use the same, like a plain box for everything. And then there's just like a picture sticker on the end here. But GT Spirit, I think they've really come a long way in the last few years. And they throw in a quality control card, which I've shown that in the past to not always be the case. Some things I think have gotten through that should not have gotten through, in my opinion, but nonetheless. So we will dismount this sucker and put it up on the turntable and take a look at it. It is absolutely beautiful though. The paint job looks spectacular on it. This is like a medium blue color with light tan interior. Let me dismount this and we will be right back. All right, so here we can see this Koenig Specials twin turbo and single supercharged 1989 Ferrari Testarossa Cabriolet up on the turntable. This thing is absolutely wicked. What started my love affair with these Koenigs, I don't know what the deal was. I think I would have been probably 16, 17 when I first saw the Koenigs pop up in some of the car magazines. And they were pretty rare. You didn't see, well, they're very rare to see one in person. You would probably never see one in the United States. But so they road and track, like John Lamb and some others would have to go overseas to test these cars, and that's how I saw them originally, was in the road and track exotic special issue. But as a young kid, I don't know, there's something about them, I just thought it was really cool because now this one doesn't have it, but the other ones, the other competition versions had the F40 style rear wing, which the F40 would have been just coming out in '87, and it was just, to me, it was so cool because it was like a combination of, as if the Testarossa and F40 had a child. There was such a weird, bizarre cross, and then you had this Testarossa without the side strakes on it, of course. And it gives it a very unique look with the huge intakes on the side, and then you had the large NASA vents out the back on the top of the rear fenders as well for the intercoolers. Really, really wild looking car, and this one did not disappoint either. The first time I saw a Koenig Cabriolet was in 1989. It was actually the April 1989 issue of what is it, Motor Trend, and I have the issue here and I can show it here then. I believe this particular car is based on, it was I would assume a wealthy gentleman in the United States, and he had commissioned this build exactly as you see here in the darker blue with the light tan interior, gold centered OZ wheels. Sad thing is, I believe the car did not survive. From what I understand, doing research on this car, it did burn up subsequently, I believe in the early 90s. The actual car was 17-inch wheels on it. Like I said, OZ, I believe, made the wheels for Koenig, and this particular one was 335 series tires on the back and 245 series on the front. So very, very sticky P0s on it. This particular one, from what I was reading here in this Motor Trend issue from April '89, it was twin turbo. Of course, the stock flat, well, not stock, I don't know how much they really redid the internals on the motor, but it was the flat 12 from the Testarossa, twin turbocharged, and the turbos were running, I believe, like 14 psi of boost, and then it had a single centrifugal supercharger by Albrecht's, which was running, I believe, at like 7 pounds of boost. That's made like 800 horsepower, and let's see what they say here. It was like 600 and some foot-pounds of torque. Motor. In this April '89 issue of Motor Trend, the writer, which is Ron Grable, did not seem impressed by the performance at all, considering he said if it was supposed to be 800 horsepower, he said he found it hard to believe because he thought the car was kind of slow. It's hard to believe that this was 3,600 pounds, but that's what the article says that this car weighed. But to give you an idea on the price, back then, if you would have ordered one of these, it was $380,000 with this $50-some thousand option to have the roof cut off as well. In today's money, in 2021, you're talking that's what, $830,000. So a lot of money. GT Spirit, you can see there the circular patterns they have on the back is to try to represent the Albrecht supercharger. You can kind of see there on the left inside the grills, and then you have the wastegate, 2 tips for the exhaust for the wastegate, and then the 2 center exit for the main exhaust. It's not perfect, being a resin cast. I wish the engine detail was a little bit better than it is, but it's not bad. More of a 5-footer, I would say. One thing that's cool though with this one compared to the other ones I had reviewed is at least you can really get a good sense of the interior. Even though the doors don't open up, it's really fun to be able to see the interior. Now this does not have any Ferrari logos on it. It does have the KS's because of the cease and desist letter that was sent to Koenig from Ferrari. They had to stop using the Ferrari prancing horse logo and any of the mention of Ferrari itself. That's why you see the KS on the back as well. The one from the actual real car had a gold plated horse on the back, which I'm pretty sure this car is based on that car that burned up, sadly enough. But the interior looks great on this. I keep hoping they make the original style Evo, or I should say the original style competition Testarossa hardtop with this and with the early front end on it, as opposed to the competition Evo front end, which is the one I had reviewed before, and you can see it here in the background on the poster. I prefer the early front end better myself, but you know, to each his own. This does have rubber tires. They nailed the gold this time. The other ones I had reviewed before from GT Spirit, the gold was like too yellow. It was a really strange yellow. I don't know, but this really looks great. It looks absolutely perfect. The brake calipers actually even say Koenig. It's like silver on silver. I'll try to get a good shot of that. This was probably an earlier Testarossa that this was based on because it's got the center knockoff wheels. If it would have been a later one, it would not have had. It would have had the 5-lug wheels on it. That's the rear. I'll try to get some better shots here of the close-ups. I think these are pretty impressive for the money. As I always warned before, anytime you're getting these from overseas, if you do order them direct from China, be prepared, or even from the United States, that sometimes some of the photo etched metal parts may pop off and you might have to glue them back on. This one I ordered directly from Canada and it got here in like a week. Not too bad. That does have carpet in this. They have it flocked. You can kind of see probably a little bit better behind the seats here. It's flocked flocked material. No seat belts though, which is kind of sad. I was kind of hoping there'd be some kind of seat belt detail, kind of like Auto Art does. At least put some kind of cloth seat belt in there would have been nice. So that, now I'm just noticing that kind of is a little disappointing. But you got those huge vents on the back fenders. Look at that. They're absolutely immense. And if you look on YouTube, which I'll put a link down below, there is another dark blue one in the United States that is a hardtop. It's not convertible, but it's dark blue, and it does not have the F40 style wing on the back, I don't think. I'll have to review it again, but I'll put the link down below. It's absolutely wicked. I always thought these were really cool. I know they're not, people either love them or they hate them. I just think it takes balls, in my opinion, to back then to take a brand new Ferrari and chop it up. Pretty much was a lot of money flowing apparently in the 80s that people could do that. I hadn't known until just now looking at this that this is number 598 out of 999 produced. The fit and finish is pretty decent on. I mean, for what I paid for it, I paid a little more than I did on some of the, well, I almost dropped that on the floor. I paid a little more than I did on the hardtop versions, but I always wanted a convertible version of this particular one, especially in the dark blue. I always thought it looked great. The writer of that issue in Motor Trend really ripped on the clear panel in the back here. I don't know, it's I think if you're spending that kind of money back then, you would want people to be able to appreciate all the work that went into the engine compartments. I think I can kind of see why it would have had a clear canopy, so to speak, on the back here, a bonnet, I guess you want to say. But I think it's pretty wicked looking. I don't know, maybe it's not to everybody. It would probably be a little more subtle if that wasn't clear. But either way, it's pretty wild. Very cool. I'm very, very thankful for GT Spirit to produce this, because like I said, nobody else is making anything even remotely similar to these cars, and appreciating all the tuner cars, because they even have the Countach version from Koenig, which I think is pretty ugly in my opinion, and I think they have the Jaguar and some of the Mercedes from Koenig, which also were very ugly. I thought I didn't care for the huge body kits for them, but the Ferrari versions I always thought were really cool. Pretty wicked. Here is this issue if you're interested in checking it out. It was the April 1989 issue, and here is the actual, let me back out here. Here's the actual real car. And I thought I read somewhere the guy had oil money of some sort. I thought I read that years ago. I like the license plate says ho hum on it. But you can see there it has the Testarossa logo, which I don't like how it's placed right in the middle underneath the deck lid above the gold horse. It's either yellow or gold. I can't tell what's going on over that. It looks like a yellowish gold. It would look better if the Testarossa logo was placed on the left to be more symmetrical with the Koenig Specials logo, but we don't have to worry about that on the model since there's no Ferrari logos at all. Like I said, the writer was not impressed by the performance at all in the car. There's no 0-60. I would say the 0-60 is probably like 3.5 seconds on this car. And he's claiming the published reports was 800 horsepower, 664 foot-pounds of torque. I always thought the horsepower was higher than that. I think that would be the competition was the one that was over 1,000 horsepower though. But that angle there, that picture, is crazy how wedge shaped the car is. 335, 35, 17 P0s on the back. Pretty wicked, but I always thought it was a cool car. It's a shame it burned up. But it can also be seen briefly in the Koenig specials video. I'll try to put a shot of that in the beginning of my video. It's on YouTube as well. I think it was like an old VHS tape that somebody put on YouTube. So I will try to get shots for that and put the link down below. It would have been like a promotional video at the time for potential buyers, I believe. So there you go. That is the 1989 Koenig Specials twin turbo and supercharged Ferrari Testarossa Cabriolet. Very wicked. Quite a feat there to pull that off. And the model version of it, I think, is fairly accurate and very cool. This one I will definitely be keeping in my collection because I always wanted a 1/18 scale version of it. I just didn't want to pay the AGM prices because I think AGM made a version of it, but it was like $1,500 or something ridiculous. Very cool. So if you like this type of video, be sure to give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're not a subscriber, please consider it's free. You can't beat free. And hit the bell for notifications. And until next time, I will see you guys later. You guys have a good night. Let me know what you think of this Koenig down below. And I will get some detailed shots here of it. You can see even there's a photo etched metal there for the key lock assemblies where you would put your key in on the door. And I believe it's, can't tell if that's printed on, I think it's just printed on the back there. Yeah, it's printed on the circles on the back there, but very cool. Guys, let me know down below what you think of this sucker. And would it be cool, better in red perhaps than the blue? Maybe, I don't know. White would be cool too, I think, in this. Oh, and side note on this was Mike Tyson, the boxer. He actually had a convertible version, but his had the F40 style rear wing on. I believe his was red with white leather interior, really gaudy, really over the top. And maybe I'll throw a link up or some pictures of that here on the video. Maybe I'll do a little splash in between as I'm talking here, some pictures of it if I can find it. Who knows whatever happened to that car. A lot of these ended up in Japan. That's where a lot of them are now. Today's in Japan. The Japanese really seem to appreciate some of these wild tuner cars more so than the other countries. All right, so there you go. Have a good night now. Bye now.